Right now, we're in the stage or the age of forgiveness. We're in the stage or age of forgiveness. We have opportunity now to turn to Jesus and to receive Him as our King and to receive His good gifts of healing and restoration, His grace. We're in the stage and age of forgiveness, but this stage, it will not last forever. There's an end to it. Judgment will come, and rightfully so. It's actually, we long for it. We want it. We want justice and equity in our land, right? A lot of injustice. The end of evil. We want the end of evil and suffering forevermore. And it will come. It will come when Jesus returns as King, and He will judge and He will rule. Now, nobody knows when. Jesus says Himself that, but it will happen suddenly. And for those who are not ready for it, it will be tragic. All tragedies are like that. When you think of any tragedy, like 9/11 or any of the shootings or earthquakes or tornadoes, any disaster upon earth. You kind of never see it coming, right? You don't know it's going to happen, then bam, it happens, and there's nothing you could have done to prevent it, to not be there, and it's too late. So Jesus here, He's like a weather tragedy forecaster, telling us what's going to happen and how we can prepare for it and be ready for it. How we can be ready for the justice and judgment of the King. Sometimes when bad things happen, I don't know if you've heard this, people be like, where was God in that? What happened to God in their judgment? Which is interesting because by that logic then, every other day God was God. And He doesn't get the credit for that, sustaining life and giving His good gifts of grace, causing the sun to rise and the rain to fall, holding back evil, giving us grace upon grace the other 364 days of the year. God is just such a giving God. And here's none of us give Him thanks or honor Him as He ought to in return, as He deserves. Instead, if we're honest, none of us really measure up, and we really don't deserve to be taken with Jesus, but rather to be one of the people that's left behind to receive judgment, right? None of us could ever measure up to Jesus. And that's why Jesus came the first time, for people like us that don't deserve it, that have lots of faults and failures and deserve judgment. When Jesus was on trial before Pilate, the Roman governor, Pilate asked Jesus point blank if he's a king. And Jesus says, yeah. And Jesus is so bold. He actually says that He was the one that put him in power. Like, Pilate, the seat that you're sitting in wouldn't be yours unless it was given to you from above by me. It's pretty bold. So when Pilate crucified Jesus, he crucified Him with a sign above His head saying that Jesus was the King. He was a king. On the cross, Jesus did what no human king has ever done. He took on the faults and the failures of His own people upon Himself as if they were His own, and He paid an eternal price on the cross for that, for the sins of the world on the cross. He did that so that we would see true love, so that we could receive God's forgiveness, because somebody was punished for us on our behalf in our place, and that then through that we can embrace Him as the rightful and good King. It seems to me today that we make one of two errors. I think we either make the error of putting all our hope in politics, human governments, human rulers, or laws, or we go the other way and we just say, forget it all. It's like, I'll go into hell in a handbasket, so whatever, and you just check out. I think what Jesus calls us to first is to embrace His kingship, His rule and reign as the true answer for our problems, which really starts with us deep down in our own hearts. We turn to Him as the true answer for the problem of our hearts and for our country, and then we don't check out, but we increasingly live out the principles of His kingdom in the places that God has us as we await His glorious coming. So we pray, come, Lord, And we stand up for justice in our land because the true judge is coming, and we want to be ready.